Welcome back, you beautiful souls. If you're new to my page, my name's Tyrone. I am a middle-aged man who posts average to poor book reviews about books that I love. Today's video is not going to be an easy listen, so if you don't want to listen about mental health, depression, abuse, then yeah, skim away for now, please, and then maybe come back at a later date. I hope that my page for you lot is a place that you can turn when you're having tough days, and I help you feel a bit less alone. But I also need you to understand that my page across TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube is a place where I come when I feel alone and I need somewhere to vent as well. Today, I am going to be going through some of my favourite books this year because books absolutely do give me joy, especially at a time in my life when I need it the most. But initially, I just want to tell you a bit more about me. I want my page to be as transparent as possible. I want you to not only follow me for my books, but because of the journey that I'm going on. So at the minute, a lot of you know, I am diagnosed with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. I'm on sertraline for depression, propranolol for anxiety. I have an eating disorder, so I binge eat. I have binge ate today as well. It's not something I'm proud of. It's something I get extremely angry about even, and upset. But it's something I just don't appear to have any control over at the minute in my life. I've tried therapy for it and that did nothing. I've had CBT therapy. I've had trauma therapy for sexual abuse that I suffered as a young child. On two of them occasions that was by men. On another occasion it was by a woman. But growing up I also had a lot of hate to the world. I had questions going through my mind about my sexuality because I had been abused by men. And yeah, I think keeping all them things in over the years led to an implosion November 2023, 2023. And from that day forward, I've just been trying to get through the days. I'm wicked at masking, so a lot of the time I'll come online, I'll come on social media and I put on a brave face, I put on a smile for you all, because I want to be a beacon of hope for people. And I understand the video that I'm doing now is also a way to be a beacon of hope. I can't always come on and put on a brave face. But the books at the side of me have given me reason over the last kind of 9 months or so to smile. And I think it's important that I go through them with you, because I think reading, for me, is absolutely an escape. I don't think I use it as a therapy. I do like to think that I deal with the traumas that I've experienced and the issues that I've got inside my head head on. I don't like to use books as a way to block things out, but it is just a good place to go when I'm at that point. I do still have days where I feel suicidal. Yesterday morning, I had the thoughts going through my head about not being here and the reasons why I should stay. I know, when I appreciate this is hard for some people to listen to, but I just want people to know that they're not alone. You know, if one person watches this video and realises that it's okay to have them thoughts, it's a success. Now, I've got 3 beautiful children. I've got a beautiful wife, a fantastic life. I'm just blessed. But when I'm going through my bouts of depression, none of that matters. My kids don't matter. My wife doesn't matter. I can't see joy in anything. And that's hard to say and that's hard to admit. But I've got to figure this out. There's no other choice. If it wasn't for the fact that I've got my kids and my wife, I probably wouldn't be here today. But I've got reason to keep fighting, and I'll keep fighting until the day that I've gone, and it will be natural when I've gone. But yeah, less of the depression talk, because it's just going to set me off. I'll get upset and I'll start crying, and we'll get into the fun stuff now, because I'm welling up. But anyway, I'm not going to edit any of this out, because I hope you can see by now that this page is always going to be authentic. It's going to be real. This is real life. It's not going to be edited crap that we see online. I just think that's worse, and just makes people feel crap about their life. So starting off with Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary. When I read this book, I was actually in quite a good place, and someone suggested that I read this because I'd just finished Red Rising, which is another book on my list. And they said, oh, if you like that, maybe sci-fi is up your street. I'd not touched sci-fi for a long time because I was scared of it, maybe. I didn't do great at school. Academically, I did well in PE, but I always struggled with my attention span. I thought I was the class clown, and science just scared me. So I stayed away from sci-fi books. But this book is just insane. If you've not read the book. I forgot what the character's name is actually. You'll find out over time on my page that I've got an horrendous memory. I can literally finish a book and then a day later you could ask me what it was about and I'd be like, oh, I can tell you bits, but I can't remember it all. So the character in this book is a teacher. I know that for sure. He is a teacher and he's really clever, but he's given up being a scientist. He used to be like a really clever scientist that had papers out and everything, and he gave it all up to become a professor at a university. And he's basically tasked with going to save the world. I'm not going to try and give you any more than that, but his task is to get in a spaceship and go and save the world. And then while en route to save the world, he comes across one of the best side characters of any book I have ever read in my entire life. They create a relationship like no other relationship I've read in my entire life. I still can't remember the name. Here we go, Ryland Grace. That's the name of the main character. And it's just a feel-good book. I thought when I read this book it was going to be quite like a sci-fi heavy, hard read. And it just threw me for six. It was not like what I expected. If you want to get into sci-fi and you're wondering where to start, I'd definitely recommend Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. It's just such a good time, and the ending of this book is just, it's insane. Honestly, it's magic. Going on to Red Rising, which was my first ever sci-fi read. I've only read the first one of this. This is part of a 5-book series. I think it's 5 books. I've got it on shelf. Yeah, I think it's 5 books. I've only read the first one. This is about a young lad called Darrow who lives on Mars. They've basically gone to Mars to colonise it. There's still people on Earth, but he's one of the people that have been sent to Mars. And when they're on Mars, they've got different colours. So he is a red, hence the name Red Rising, which is basically like bottom of the food chain. They do all the construction work, all the manual labour, and then they have different colours for different rankings. So the higher the colour you are, the more important you are, let's say, in society. And he, it's so hard to do this without getting spoilers. He goes through a lot in this first book. His growth as a character is wicked, and the ending of the book just makes you want to pick up the second. But I am an habitual series starter, and no matter how good as a book is, I always feel like I'm missing out. So if someone posts a review about another book, I'm like, oh, I best read that first, and I'll come back to Golden Sun, which is book 2 in this. But it's just, this book picks you up, it breaks you down, picks you up again, makes you love characters, hate characters. There's another character in here who came in middle towards end who was wicked. I forgot what his name was. This is how good my memory is. Severo. That's it. Severo's in this book and he's class. So yeah, Red Rising, definitely another good entry point to sci-fi. I apologise if this is not flowing that well today. Like I said, my mental health's just not in a great place and I'm not one for editing stuff. I don't want to edit. Sword of Kaigen, or Kagan, however you pronounce it, by M.L. Wang. This is definitely in my top 5 this year. It is a standalone book, so this can be just read on its own. It's not part of a series. It's by an author called M.L. Wang, and it was self-published, which I think is just wicked. I am not one for talking about writing prose. I don't even know what writing prose means when people talk about writing prose, but whenever I critique a book, it will always be on how the book made me feel. I don't care about how a book was written. I don't really care about plot as long as I enjoy it. This book is wicked. As a dad, I love this book, but I think as a mum, people would enjoy this book even more. The story follows a young lad in, I want to say it's kind of like Chinese, Japanese, cultural, what's the word I'm looking for? Influence? I just imagine it set in like the mountains of China, in like huts with people that ain't got gas and electric, and they walk around with samurai swords, and there's green trees everywhere. So that's the best way I can describe the way that this world feels to me. It follows the young lad and his mum and his very traditionally Chinese family, we'll say. It's not actually saying China, but you get what I'm saying. The mum says very early on in the book that she wanted a daughter. She's only got sons, and as you can imagine, growing up in this kind of family, the sons are warriors and the mums stay at home and they cook and clean. But the mum's got a bit of a history that the family don't know, and she's definitely more than a cooker and cleaner. But the story of how the mum and the son's relationship builds and how she as a mum grows as a person, it is just absolutely beautiful and it's insane. I can't recommend this book enough. I'm not going to say any more than that without giving spoilers away, but The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang is a must read, and M.L. Wang's also got another standalone that I'm yet to read, but it is on my wish list, so I'll get it at some point. This one, slightly controversially, I've not finished this yet, But I already know that this book, Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh, is going to be one of my favourite books this year. Now, it follows two people. One, Johnny. This is what I mean. I'm reading this at a minute. I can't even remember names. Johnny and Shannon, I think the names are. Yeah, they are. Well done, me. Go on, pass on back. It's set in 2005. Shannon is in year 9 in Ireland, and Johnny, I think, is like year 11. They've got weird names for years in Ireland. But it's a story about how them two meet, and it is just hilarious. It's relatable. Like, I read this book, and there are some topics in this book where you've got like the 17-year-old lad talking about his meat and two veg, and the girl talking about rude things. And usually with books like that, I feel a bit weirded out because I'm a 34-year-old bloke and my daughter's 14. But it's just written in such a way where it makes me feel like I'm back at school. I don't feel weird. It's just the way that the author's done it. I can't even put words on it. Like I said, I don't know enough about writing to tell you why it's just so good, but it just works. It makes you feel exactly like you felt when you were back at school. Some of the songs that they mention in there are just relatable. Some of the things that happen at school, in the lunch hall. I'm told that as the book goes further on, there's some quite dark themes in it. I can already see by the looks of it that Shannon's probably being abused at home. And there are hints at that happening. But it is just insane. I'd say it's definitely more of a romance book. You'll learn over time that I don't have a preferred genre. At the minute, I am reading a lot of romantasy and romance. I'm lying. Romantasy and fantasy. But I'll read thriller, historical fiction, romance. I just don't care. I said on my Instagram the other day, I grew up with a single mum, with a sister as an older sibling, female cousins. Before I had my son, I had my wife and my 2 daughters, a female dog. My life's been spent predominantly around a lot of women, and one of my best friends growing up, Dale, he's not a man's man. You know, he weren't a man's man. I'm not a man's man. I'm not macho. And I'd say I have quite a feminine taste in some things. So yeah, I'll read out One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. I read these recently, and these were wicked. Quite different in books. I really enjoyed them though. But One Dark Window was brilliant because of the world it builds in this book. It is very dark and gothic. The magic system's class. The magic system is card based, so they've got these cards called Providence cards, where depending on what cards you hold, depends on what magics you get. But each card that you have and each power that you gain has like a negative power to it. So by all means, you can crack on and use these powers, but there's going to be sacrifices that you have to make for using the power. It's set in a single person point of view, so it's first person. You're at the point of view of Elspeth, who's the main character. She's female, and you're following her journey along in the world. I'm not going to give you much more than that, but it's just, for me, it's a must read. A few people messaged me and said that they weren't massive fans of it, but she had a power from a young age. She touched, there's a card called the Nightmare card, and she touched that power, and from being a young age, any card that she touches from then, she basically takes the power from the card. So she's refused to touch any Providence cards. She hates the thought of Providence cards, but she has the Nightmare living inside her head, and she has conversations with this Nightmare, and the relationship, if you can call it, between that voice and her mind, it's just wicked. There's banter, there's frustration. It's just class, honestly. Second book, Two Twisted Crowns, switches it up a bit. It's kind of like a completely different vibe because you get 3 or 4 points of view in this. And for me, the character building in this book was meh. It was more the world that was built and the magic system that carried this book. But in this book, Two Twisted Crowns, the relationship with, or the character building for 2 characters called Elm and Ione, I think that's how you pronounce it anyway, carried that second book. So I think the second book was definitely better for character development. And another book, Fate Inked in Blood, was the first Danielle L. Jensen book that I'd read this year ever. I have since then got, I don't know where it is, this here, I think this is her stuff. Yeah, I've since got the Bridge Kingdom, it's not a trilogy, series to read, but I just love the book. I don't know anything about Norse mythology, which this is based on Norse mythology. I have since bought a Stephen Fry book. My head's a mess today. It's not even Stephen Fry. It was a, what's his name? Neil Gaiman. I bought a Norse mythology Neil Gaiman book to try and teach me about Norse mythology so I can read more of her stuff, because I think a new book's coming out next year. And the main character in this book, Freya, in a lot of books that I read, I find that the main characters are just annoying. And Freya wasn't. I think it's quite fast paced. It got straight into it. It's very much like an adventure, but it feels like The Hobbit. And I don't want you to compare this book to The Hobbit, but you know, if you've read The Hobbit, how it's very much an adventure book. It's about a journey to complete a task. This book very much feels like a journey to complete a task, and the relationship between Freya and the main male character in this, which again, I forgot his name, as you can imagine. You're going to have to tell me names of characters, but anyway, whatever his name is, he sounds fit, he's a good guy, and she's a good lass. So, Rant enjoyed that one. I'm trying to think if there's any more that I adored. I've not put any more down here, but yeah, we'll go with that for now. I've probably got more that I want to read, but I just wanted to come on here and rant today, really, as I said, because I'm just going through a period of my life at the minute that I can't seem to get out of. This time a year ago, I was 14 stone 6 pound. I was at the gym 4 to 6 times a week. I was cycling a few times a week. Things were going well, and something happened, and I don't know what that something is. But I think it's important that I talk to you about that, because that something might happen to one of you one day. It might have already happened and you might not know how to get through it. And I ain't got the answer. I don't know how I'm going to get through this period of my life. I don't know how I'm going to stop thinking the thoughts that I'm thinking. I don't know how I'm going to be able to look at my kids and see joy in their beautiful smiles. I don't know how I'm going to be able to look at my wife and be grateful for the fact that I am absolutely punching. I've got the most beautiful woman on planet Earth living under the same roof as me. But I know I will, because the alternative isn't an option. I absolutely think about the thoughts that I think, but I will absolutely never, ever, ever take that way out, because me stopping the pain that I suffer on a daily basis will only start a snowball of pain for every single person around me that I cherish and love. And although at the minute I can't see happiness in much in my life, I know full well that in 3 months, 6 months, 10 months, 12 months, I don't care how long it takes, at some point I'll be able to look at my beautiful children, my beautiful wife, and the page that I've built and the stuff that I'm doing online. I'll be able to look at that and see that it was worth it. It don't feel like that now. As I'm talking to you right now, I'm not happy. I wish I wasn't feeling what I'm feeling. I wish I wasn't in the head that I'm in. I wish I'd not been through the things that I've been through. But we've all been through things in life, and we all have to find a way through it. We have to find coping mechanisms. I didn't have a dad growing up. I don't have a male role model that's ever taught me how to deal with this as a man. I just feel like it's the right thing for me to do this, to be able to teach my children, but not only my children, but my 4-year-old boy, that when you get older, son, you're going to go through stuff in life, and it's all right to talk about it, because the worst thing I did for 33 years was keep everything locked away, because now I'm dealing with 33 years worth of trauma all at once, and it's bloody hard. It is bloody hard. I just want to say, if you've watched till this point, as always, I love you the most. I don't think you fully appreciate how much I rely on you. And I don't mean you as 50,000 people on Instagram. I don't mean you as 30,000 on TikTok or whatever I'm starting to build on YouTube. I mean you that is watching this video now, you that comments individually, every single one of you, honestly save my life every single day. And I hope that shows in how responsive I am on my inboxes, on my social media platforms. I hope it shows in the replies that I give you on my YouTube. For me, this isn't about stupid. I hate the word being an influencer. I hate it. I'm not an influencer. I'm a 34-year-old bloke that lives in a council house, and I don't care about the money. If I cared about money, I'd have clothing lines and things like that. I've actually got this, my Reed's Coat Full of Hope. At some point I'll bring this out, but it's more for a mental health awareness. I hate it when people see me in public and I went to a Rebecca Yarros event. I'm digressing now, but I went to a Rebecca Yarros event recently, and I saw a lot of people that follow the page there on Instagram, and they came up to me and they said, "Oh, I can't believe it, it's Bookish Dad, please can I have a photo?" And I said, "You absolutely can, but we're doing it as a group. I'm not having a solo photo with you, because I'm not a famous person." I just think there's so many people online who get a bit of a following and they just become absolute pretentious arseholes. And I hate it. I'll never become that person. I am just one of you. I read books just like you read books. I have mental health problems like a lot of you have mental health problems, but I just come online and talk to you about it because that's my way of coping. There's only so much pressure I can put on my wife. That girl is an absolute saint, and yeah, sometimes she doesn't deserve this. I love you all so much, genuinely. I mean this from the bottom of my heart, and I just want to say thank you to every one of you that supported me. I'll do another video at some point. For now, over and out.